What's up, gang? Ryan here, Focus Human Performance. Hey, and before we get started, yes, I am wearing a lapel mic, and that's only because the acoustics here in the old home training center aren't the best. It's too cold outside to have the garage door up, so bear with me. Don't be making fun of me. What I want to talk to you today is about the single leg rear foot elevated split squat, or the Bulgarian split squat, or the single leg bench squat is what I call it. And you know, I'm not on the bandwagon or the thought process that the single leg movement is going to totally revamp the training realm or the training industry, and it's going to replace the back squat or the front squat or any of our pulls from the floor, RDL variations. You know, I'm not of that mindset, but I will fully admit that early on in my career as being a strength coach, when I first got solely responsible for writing programs for teams, you know, I did neglect the single leg movement, and I know that's a big mistake. So one of the things I want to help you with, though, is setting up this movement the right way, because I do see some variances and some mistakes out there, and people are doing some things a little bit incorrectly. And it really comes down to two things. One is the setup to a single leg bench squat. The actual setup, how do you get started in setup? And the other thing is the foot position. So I'm going to show you what I feel are some mistakes and why. And the best part is I'm going to show you a super easy way that you can make this movement better and make it so much more beneficial to your athletes, and you can get much better compliance from them. So let's take a look at this. I'm going to be moving around here a little bit, so bear with me, okay? I've got my bench height. One of the problems with using a bench or a fixed position like this is that, you know, a taller athlete like me, I'm 6'2", this is a little too short for me based on, you know, where my movement is for my hips, knees, and ankles. If I have a smaller athlete, this might be perfect. Let's say you're using a box or something like that. That's a little bit better because you can adjust the height, but still, it's a limitation. If you have different sized athletes, which we're going to in high school, obviously, this is a problem whenever you can't adjust the height. So let's get into the setup. A lot of times we see people either in the standing split position and they're getting the dumbbells or the weights handed to them. They're trying to get here and they're doing the hop thing because they don't know where their depth's at. They're trying to get their foot comfortable. Then they take the dumbbells. Worse yet, we see people in this good stance, they'll drop down and they'll reach over and they'll pull the dumbbells from the floor. You know, we really don't have to do any of that stuff. So when we go to our solution, I'm going to show you the setup. The other thing I want to point out is, if I get in position here, is do I have the toes dug in this way where I'm digging in, or do I have the laces flat? Okay, here's the rationale. With the toes dug in right here, toes are dug in, and I get into this position, what happens on the descent? So I push those hips straight down, chest is tall. When I get here, most of the time this is going to collapse. Then that's really stretching, and the kids struggle to get back up out of that. Imagine if they have weight in their hand, okay? When the foot's dug in, it's usually pushing them forward. We know our high school athletes don't have incredible ankle flexibility, so they're not really able to push back this way and sit into this. So it keeps that momentum and the weight here. First thing they're going to say is fatiguing on the quad on the front leg, and it's hurting their lower back, all right? So you figure the solution to that is what? Put the shoestrings flat. Well, here's the problem with that too. Let's say shoestrings are flat. Now in the bottom position right here, chest tall, this feels perfect. I'm getting a great stretch. I've got good shoulder, hips, knees, and ankle alignment, and I'm able to drive and push up out here. The problem is at the top. Now right here, I'm splaying the ankle down in the opposite direction. That starts to hurt. Athletes are going to drive forward like this. So toes up, toes down, there's problems there. I don't get set up the right way. I don't know how to get set up the right way. It's either too high or too low, so I can't adjust this height. And then it's the foot position. We saw the limitations of each of that. So let's fast forward here. I'm going to show you a quick way to make this a ton better. Let's fast forward. All right, here we are, fixing the camera. Yeah. Here we are in the rack. Now, the reason we like the rack, because we know the J-hooks right here are adjustable up and down. Our magical, wait for it now, the magical piece of equipment that we're going to use is a PVC pipe. Okay, you probably already have PVC pipes in your gym anyway. The difference with this one, it's a little bit fatter. This is a 5-foot long pipe, and you want to make sure that the length of the pipe is so it goes outside of your rack. If it's too short, obviously it's not going to fit in there, and it'll slide out. So you want to make sure that it's outside your J-hooks. This one is a 2-inch diameter, so it's a little bit bigger, it's a little bit fatter. If you're having a gym or training center, especially in a high school, we're doing a lot of training. This right here, your inline lunges, your barbell positions, your walking lunges, whatever, just to get the athlete in that position, that angle, you're going to have PVC pipes here. Just go get 1 or 2 of these that are this thickness, 2-inch, okay? $4.29 at Lowe's. That's what I paid for this thing. You know, Home Depot, whatever your hardware stores, you probably shop around and get it cheaper than that, all right? So let's just see how we set this up. Got my J-hooks here, sticking out the sides. What I use is a jump stretch band just for safety concerns, because I don't want this thing moving back and forth. So I hook it tight right here on one side. I bring it around all the way to the other side. If you don't have jump stretch bands, it's about time to get some, because you use them for everything. All right, so here's my setup. The J-hook height, okay? You want the J-hook height right here, so when I'm standing up against this, it's hitting me right in the back of the knee. Where the knee bends right here should be in the middle of this bar, as best we can. All right, we know it's going to be moving a little bit, but it's a whole lot better than being in this fixed position on the bench. So it's hitting me right here. The way I like to set up is when the athlete's standing, they have the weight. Either going to have weight at their side, below the hip, pulled up tight here, more in a Zercher position at the elbow, or they're going to have it up tall across the back for a barbell position. When I step out, right here, I take my step out. Wherever this step out is exactly where I'm going to go ahead and hit my descent. So my warm-up sets with no weight unloaded here. When I practice, I'm going to step out, back foot hooks. Since this PVC pipe is rounded, I'm actually able to pull into the shoestrings and make this round hook right here, okay? So I'm in my position, drive straight down, big stretch, it's comfortable, it's not digging in here. Got weight on both feet, and then when I drive back out, I'm gonna pivot and drive to the lockout. Straight down, pivot, drop to the lockout. Straight down, pivot, foot's comfortable, stress on both sides of the legs, drive out, okay? So if I set up to the other side, hitting me in the back of the legs, I know where my mark is, where I'm stepping out to, chest nice and tall. I'm going to step out, reach and hook, all right? Drop down here, get a nice stretch, drive the lockout, drop down, nice stretch, I'm pivoting on the back side, drive out, okay? So listen, do yourself, your athletes, a favor. Go spend $4.29 and get a couple PVC pipes, 5 foot long, whatever, 2 inches, doesn't have to be 2 inches, but that's a little bit more comfortable. We actually have a couple that are 3 inches for some different reasons. Go do that, set up your single leg movements, single leg, split squat, rear leg, whatever. Make it more impactful, more comfortable, better mechanics, able to hold more weight, a little variation, and watch it take off. It's a good movement. I hope this helps. I'll talk to you soon.